So everybody can fold your hands. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 Narayanam Namaskrityam
Narayanam
Namaskrityam
Naram Chaiva Narottamam
Naram Chaiva
Narottamam
Devim Saraswatim Vyasam
Devim Saraswatim Vyasam
Tado Jayamudiraye
Tado Jayamudiraye
Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu
Ashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu
Nityam Bhagavada Sevaya
Nityam Bhagavata
Sevaya
Bhagavadi Uttama Sloke
Bhagavati Uttama Shloke
Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtigim.
Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtikim.
Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjanasalagaya Chakshurunmilidam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stabidam Yena Bhudale Swayam Rupakada Mahyam Dadadi Swapadantigam Vandeham Shri Gurum Shri Yudapadagamalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajadam Sahagana Raghunathanidam Tam Sajivam Sadhvaidam Savadutam Parijana Sahidam Shri Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalidam Shri Vishakhanidamscha. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpade Gopesha Gopika Kanda Radha Kanda Namostude Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanul Sude Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vancha Kalpatarupasya Kripa Sindhubhya Evaja Padidanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Om Sahana Vavadu Sahanau Bhunaktum Sagaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinamadidastu Ma Viddushavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shantihi. Harihi Om Tatsat. Om Namo Namo Aniruddhaya Rishikeshindriyatmane Namaha Paramahamsaya Purnaya Nivritatmane. Hare Krishna will also recite the first verse of Srimad Bhagavatam. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Janmadyasya Yado Anyaya Didaraschattve Sabhijnaswarat Tene Brahma Hridaya Adigavaye Muhyandiya Suryaha Tejo Vari Mridam Yada Vinimayo Yatra tu Sargo Aprusha Damna Swena Sada Nirastakokam Satyam Param Dhimahi. Translation. O my Lord Sri Krishna, O son of Vasudeva, O all-pervading personality of Godhead, I offer my respectful obeisances unto you. I meditate upon Lord Sri Krishna because he is the absolute truth and the primeval cause of all causes of the creation, sustenance, and destruction of the manifested universes. He is directly and indirectly conscious of all manifestations, and he is independent because there is no other cause beyond him. It is he only who first imparted the Vedic knowledge under the heart of Brahmaji, the original living being. By him, even the great sages and demigods are placed into illusion, as one is bewildered by the illusory representations of water seen in fire or land seen on water. Only because of him do the material universes, temporarily manifested by the reactions of the three modes of nature, appear factual, although they are unreal. I therefore meditate upon him, Lord Sri Krishna, who is eternally existent in the transcendental abode, which is forever free from the illusory representations of the material world. I meditate upon him, for he is the absolute truth. Hare Krishna, dear devotees, thank you so much for joining today. So we were going through the third canto, first chapter, which is titled as the Questions by Mahatma Vidura. So last class, we were discussing about the Mahatma Vidura was inquiring about Arjuna's well-being. So we went through quite detail about who is Arjuna and what were the pastimes Arjuna had with Pandavas and Lord Sri Krishna, and how the Supreme Lord Sri Krishna protected the Pandavas and Arjuna in all the time. And we were going through that in great detail. And today we are going to cover Mahatma Vidura was inquiring from Uddhava about the the well-being of the two twin brothers, the Ashwini Kumaras. The Nakula and Sagadeva, they were the Ashwini Kumaras. So recite the verse. Srimad Bhagavatam, third canto, first chapter, 39th verse. Yamam utsavitana tanayado pradhaya parthay rudau pakshambir akshinau ramada udaya mrudeswariktam parat suparnau iva vajat vaktrat. Synonyms: Amau, twin Nakula and Sagadeva, Udatsvit, brother, Tanayav, sons, Prithaya, or Partha, or Pradha. Parthi, by the sons of Pradha, Vrudav, protected, Pakshambhi, by the shields, Akshini, of the eyes, Iva, like, Ramade, playing carelessly, Udhaya, snatching, Mrudhe, in the fight. So Riktam, on property, Parad, from the enemy Duryodhana. Suparna, Garuda, the carrier of Lord Vishnu. Eva, like Vajri Vaktrat, from the mouth of Indra. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Translation: Are the twin brothers who are protected by their brothers doing well? Just as the eye is always protected by the eyelid, they are protected by the sons of Prutha, who snatched back their rightful kingdom from the hands of their enemy Duryodhana, just as Garuda snatched nectar from the mouth of Indra, the thunderbolt carrier. Purport: Indra, the king of heaven, carries a thunderbolt in his hand and is very strong. Yet, Garuda, the carrier of Lord Vishnu, was able to snatch nectar from his mouth. Similarly, Duryodhana was as strong as the king of heaven. And still the sons of Pruta, the Pandavas, were able to snatch away their kingdom from Duryodhana. Both Garuda and Parthas are the pet devotees of the Lord, and thus it was possible for them to face such strong enemies. Vidura's inquiry was about the youngest brothers of the Pandavas, namely Nakula and Sagadeva. These twin brothers were sons of Madri, the stepmother of other Pandavas. But although they were stepbrothers, because Kundi took charge of them after the departure of Madri with her husband Maharaj Pandu. Nakula and Sagadeva were as good as the other three Pandavas, namely Yudhishthira, Bhima, and Arjuna. The five brothers are known in the world as regular brothers. The three elder Pandavas took care of the younger brothers, just as the eyelid takes care of the eye. Vidura was anxious to know whether after winning back their own kingdom from the hands of Duryodhana, the younger brothers were still living happily under the care of the elder brothers. The dear devotees, it's so nice to go through the Srimad Bhagavatam and how each and every great personality behaves. And this is one of the important lessons that we all can get from Srimad Bhagavatam and our scriptures, Mahabharata, and wonderful Puranas, because of it tells us that how one should behave each other. In this case of the five Pandavas, Mahatma Vidura was inquiring one by one, and that is also greatest quality of Mahatma Vidura, inquiring from the great personality Uddhava that the well-being of each and every one of them. Because of Vidura even considers the Pandavas as their own sons. And when Pandavas were there in Hastinapur, Vidura was very well taking care of the Pandavas. Because of Vidura, that when the Lakshagriha, when the Duryodhana made a plan to kill all the Pandavas in Lakshagriha, and Vidura understood the intention of Duryodhana. So then Vidura made a plan separately and then, saved the Pandavas from killing in the fire. So Vidura was always inquisitive, always caring about the Pandavas, and the same that Vidura is inquiring now Uddhava, that what is the well-being of the Pandavas, and especially the last, the youngest sons of the Pandavas, Nakula and Sagadeva. So we know that I think somebody's on. Can you put on mute? Nakula and the Sagadeva were the sons of Madri, the stepmother. Sons of Madri, the stepmother. Pandu had two wives, Kundi and Madri. So we know that when they were in the forest, and then Pandu was unable to give the children, then they made a plan that Kundi had a boon from the sage Durvasa that can invoke the greatest personality and the demigods, so they can have a children, son. So Kundi invoked the Indradev and Yamaraj and then Vayudev. And then Kundi transferred this mantra to Madri, so that even Kundi was thinking that Madri also should have children, otherwise it will be partiality, and that is injustice to Madri. So Kundi was thinking this way. So each personality, the devotees and how they behave, and that's what is the qualities, the divine qualities that we all have to come to. It's not that we create jealousy, we create enviousness, we create enmity with people. We are so much, against, or if somebody has something and I don't have. All these are there, and especially Mahabharata is considered as the complete scripture, and everything is there in the Mahabharata, and nothing that which we don't see in Mahabharata, and especially the scriptures likes that. So if we take and keep hearing the Sravanam, then we all can purify ourselves. That's another benefit of just by hearing Srimad Bhagavatam and the scriptures. So here, the Madri then invoked the Ashwini Kumaras, the doctors of the demigods, and from them they were the Ashwini Kumaras were the twins. So from them, Madri got twin sons, that is became Nakula and Sagadeva. We know that because they are younger, so it is also a duty of the elders that to take care of their youngers. So it is mentioned that as the scripture, the eldest son of the family as equal of the father. If the father is not there, then it is the responsibility of the eldest son, considering as a father, to take care of everybody else, especially the younger sons, younger children. It is a duty, it's a responsibility, it's a dharma of that eldest son to take care of the younger, brothers. So here, when Pandu left, then the elder brothers, like the Yudhishthira Maharaj especially, and then Arjuna and the Bhima, they were protecting Nakula and Sagadeva very well. And they were always cautious and conscious of their well-being. And wherever they go, they protect them. And whenever they have the food, in the forest, they give their share, even though they have their own food, but they give their share to the younger brothers. And this was the relationship. This is the relationship. It's expressing the relationship between the brothers. Even though they were step-brothers, but they considered Nakula and Sagadeva as their own brothers. And whenever in the history, when we say Pandavas, Pandavas means the 5 Pandavas, and not separate, even though they're step-brothers, but it's considered as they are the Pandavas. Why? This is the divine relationship. This is the exact relationship one should have with the brothers and the sisters. Not any kind of discrimination. Okay, oh, it's a stepmother, stepbrother, stepfather, things like that. Mainly, we are all eternally the spirit soul, the children of the Supreme Lord. So we should always see. So they are all the great personalities. They can see that. They can see always this, that one is not really separate from others. So our main duty is to see that they are all people are in this world are the brothers and the sisters of us, because we are eternally related to each other. And not only that, every living entities are eternally part and parcel of the Supreme. We are all the the amsha, the potency, the part of the Supreme Lord. And every person, that's one of the quality of the 26 divine qualities, and see everything equal. So everything equal in the sense that we see also goes further in the devotional service, the Bhakti Yoga, see everything as part of the Lord. And we can see everything as the Lord's potency, and we can see the Lord in everything, and we can see also Lord in everybody, and we can also Lord in everywhere. And that's the ultimate. So this can be achieved, that when we come to this, when we understand this and behave and come to this platform of seeing everybody equally, and especially dealing, how do we deal with each other, especially when we deal with the devotees, family members, and the people in general, and people in the society and in the world. So we see, the devotees see that Krishna is in everybody. So we see they are the representatives, they are the part and parcel of the Supreme. So the devotees see the Lord in everything, devotees sees the Lord in everywhere. This is what is exactly the Yudhishthira Maharaj, Bhima and Arjuna were very dear, very much considering, very much intimately taking care of Nakula and Sagadeva. Even Mother Draupadi, Pandavas got married to Mother Draupadi. Even Draupadi was very much affectionate towards the Nakula and Sagadeva as their elder, brothers of the Pandavas. So this was the case. So that's what is exactly Mahatma Vidura was reflecting here, that it was Nakula and Sagadeva was protected by how that eyelid is protecting an eye. So whenever there is, we know that we have an eyelid. The moment if something is, some dust or something comes to eyes, it immediately closes. It knows that what is the function of eyelid. Eyelid functions such a way that any danger it sees, that as soon as it comes, it closes the eyes so that it protects the eyes. So the main function of the eyelid is to protect the eyes, nothing else. It's exactly like that. Pandavas were there to protect Nakula and Sagadeva, and Vidura was very much aware of this one, and Vidura was inquiring, and still the Pandavas are protecting the Nakula and Sagadeva. And it also shows that how the Vidura is also very much affectionate towards the Nakula and Sagadeva. This is the greatest quality of a devotee, dear devotees, that they always consider, they are always compassionate to the other living entities. They are paradukha dukhi. They're always thinking about others' well-being than their own. So it's the greatest quality of a devotee. This is the greatest of hearing Srimad Bhagavatam. And then we can imbibe all these qualities in ourselves rather than discriminating or seeing the differences, or he's great, he's low, he's that, he's black, he's stronger, he's famous. But rather than, it is not the fact of us. Our duty is to see that everybody equally and affectionately and compassionately, and wherever and whichever way we can help them, and so that they also show and they also imbibe these qualities in their lives, so that they can be devotees of the Lord. And it's very important. And one time I was, traveling with Janananda Goswami Maharaj, and we were actually passing and came to a junction where there was a jug handle, and one car was coming, and it goes through a little bit. And Maharaj was a little concerned about that. We just went ahead. Maharaj said that, okay, if we would have given way to that person, he would have been benefited. So this is the thoughts of the pure devotees. They always try to help and gives the compassionate nature, affectionate towards each other, so that everybody get benefited in this world. So this is the greatest lesson for all of us. This is the way the Pandavas were considering their twin brothers, younger brothers, as how the eyelid protects the eyes. So exactly like that. And the reason Vidura was mentioning about that, now the Pandavas got their kingdom after the Kurukshetra war. So now Vidura was also thinking that even Yudhishthira Maharaj became the emperor of this entire Bharatavarsha, and Yudhishthira Maharaj is taking care of Nagula and Sagadeva, and whether they have their own, proper positions in the kingdom. So this is, Vidura is encouraging also for us that how Pandavas were taking care of Nakula and Sagadeva, so that we also understand from this great, Srimad Bhagavatam, that how one has to behave with the brothers and the sisters and others and other living entities. Also, the devotees always have to have this consciousness that every living entity is also part and parcel of the Supreme Lord, and we have to consider it. And even there is an ant crawling on the ground, and a devotee sees that this is the Lord's potency, then Lord is also sitting in the heart of these ants. So Lord is also there, and Lord is there in the plants, Lord is there in the world, Lord is everywhere. So this is the way devotee sees it, and this is what is exactly wanted to show that. That's actually Sukadeva Goswami mentioning this in the Srimad Bhagavatam. And then here it is also mentioned that the Yudhishthira Maharaj snatched the kingdom from the evil Duryodhana. So we know that all this, and this was why it was mentioned here, because of when Lord is there, when the Lord is there with the Pandavas, and when Lord is there, nobody can defeat anybody. And ultimately, the victory is always there when the Dharma is there. Dharma, another name of the Supreme Lord, is called Dharma. And when the Lord is there, then all the victory is with those who are with the Dharma and those who are devoted to the Supreme Lord. So Yudhishthira Maharaj could snatch the kingdom from Duryodhana, evil Duryodhana. We know that Duryodhana had a great army, around 11 Akshoni was with Duryodhana, and they had a great army. Bhishma was the Lord, Bhishma Dev was there, Dronacharya was there, Kripacharya was there. There's so many greatest valis were there with Duryodhana, but nobody could defeat the Pandavas because of the Supreme Lord was there with the Pandavas. Here, Sukadeva Goswami was comparing the snatching the kingdom of Hastinapura from Duryodhana like a snatching, how the Garuda snatched the nectar from the Indra. So see that how beautifully it is mentioned. So we know that there is a beautiful pastime which was happened, how Garuda snatched the nectar from Indra. We know that the Devadas, churned the ocean, and Devadas, and with the help of Asuras, churned the ocean, and Indra had this nectar. And Garuda was the son of Mother Vinida. And then, there is two sisters were there, Kadru and Vinida. And Kadru and Vinida were the daughters of Daksha Prajapati. And then Kashyapa Prajapati was the son of Mariji. Mariji was the Manasaputra, the born from the mind of Brahma. So they were not ordinary souls. They were greatest personalities. They are the powerful personalities, and as equal as Brahma. And Kashyapa Prajapati then got married to Didi and Aditi and Kadru and Vinida, like that. So then they were serving the Kashyapa Prajapati very intimately. And Kashyapa Prajapati became so pleased. And Kashyapa Prajapati asked Mother Kadru and Vinida, they were sisters. And Kadru was the elder sister of Vinida. So then they were, Kashyapa Prajapati became so pleased with Kadru and Vinida and asked for a boon. So then, Kadru asked a boon that to have 1,000 children, and Vinida requested to have 2 sons. And basically, Kadru requested to have 1,000 nagas, powerful nagas, for the snakes. And Vinida requested from Kashyapa Prajapati to have 2 sons. So then they, by the mercy of Kashyapa Prajapati, they got their eggs. Basically, they got their eggs. So Kadru got 1,000 eggs, and Mother Vinida also got 2 eggs. So they were waiting, and they kept in a warm water this for many hundreds of years. And after 500 years, Vinida's all the eggs. So Kadru had all the eggs, the 1,000 eggs. All these eggs were snatched, and the powerful snakes born out of the eggs. So we know that Sheshanag is born of Kadru, and Sheshanag, and Kaliya is born from the Kadru and the eggs of the Kadru, and Vasuki is born from the eggs of the Kadru, and like that, there are so many great powerful snakes who were there, and they were all born from the eggs of the Kadru. And then Vinida was waiting. Vinida was waiting for a long time. And then out of impatience, one day, Vinida just, break that one of the egg. And then one beautiful form of a person came out from the egg in a half body. And half body is not, completed. That half body still has the form of like invisible. Only the half of the body from the upper part, like head and the hands and legs, that only manifested. The rest was not there. So this person, the born out of this egg, became so furious because of Vinida could have waited for some more, then it could have a full body, but now it is just a half body. Then we know that the Aruna is the charioteer of the sun god. So then Aruna became furious and cursed Mother Vinida that you would become the slave of Mother Kadru. So then Aruna then left and then became the charioteer of the sun god. That's why we know that the reddish in the morning time, when there is a reddish horizon, which is actually because of Aruna. Then Aruna appears on the horizon when everything became red, reddish, background. And this is the time that sun god is traveling on the chariot, and the Aruna is the charioteer of the sun god. Then Kadru, Vinida waited for a long time. Then the beautiful, one other egg was now hatched, and a beautiful bird came out from the egg. This beautiful bird and powerful bird is known as Garuda. So many of you know that the history of Garuda. So Garuda then understood. Before that, there was a great, there is some little competition between Kadru and Vinida. Then who is actually going to become more powerful, and who is going to become more dominating. This natural nature is there. So one day, the Kadru, Mother Vinida and the Kadru, they were discussing about it, and Kadru asked this question to Mother Vinida, that Uchchaisrava was the holes manifested when churning the ocean. Uchchaisrava was very, very white, and it's a beautiful horse. And Kadru asked this question, and what is the color of the tail of the Uchchaisrava? So naturally, the entire horse is white, and Vinida mentioned that it is white. So Kadru didn't agree because it was right even though, but Kadru didn't want to accept that. Then Kadru had made a plan. There was some argument. They said, no. Uchchaisrava's tail is not white, it is black. So they had an argument. Then finally they put a bet that if it is black, then you should become the slave of mine. And if it is white, then I would become the slave of you, the Kadru and Vidina. Kadru was saying that if it is black, then you should become my slave. So then Naturally, the white horse, the tail should be white. But Kadru made a plan. So Kadru instructed all his serpents, children, that you become make a shadow of, you be there on the tail of the Uchaisrava and make it black. So there are loads of snakes that in the black color. So they just hanged on the tail of the the Uchaisrava. Then it looks like a black color. So when the Mother Vinita came and saw that Uchaisrava's tail became black, and as per the agreement, the Mother Vinita and Garuda and became the slaves of the Nagas and the Kadru. And then we know that there is this enviousness and then enmity created in between the Nagas and the Mother Kadru and the Nagas. And then Garuda was looking for a time to relieve his mother, Mother Vinita, from the slavery of Mother Kadru. So this is the time that Indra had nectar. Indra had a nectar and brought to the Amaravati, and it was kept there. And this is the time Garuda appeared there. And before appearing, there was a lot of bad omens were there in the heavenly planets. So Indra went to Devaguru Brihaspati and to see what are the causes, what are the reasons of all these bad signs. So Devaguru Brihaspati mentioned that Garuda is coming to snatch the nectar. So Indra put lot of barriers around where the nectar is there, and arranged an army around the nectar. But when as soon as Garuda came, Garuda was just so powerful, and Garuda just flapped his wings, and all this army is dispersed. And then with his great power, and Garuda snatched this nectar from Indra. And Indra was seeing that Garuda is running away, Garuda is taking away the nectar from him. And this is the time Garuda came back. So Indra came back, and Indra used his the foremost weapon called Vajrayudha. You know that the Vajrayudha. In order to kill a demon, Indra had to go through a severe penance and to please a sage called Dadiji. Dadiji was the sage, and only by the bonds of Dadiji that this Vajrayudha can be made. So then Indra made a penance and then came to Dadiji and pleaded and requested to sage Dadiji that only by your bonds that I can make this Vajrayudha, then it's called Thunderbolt, and then only I can fight with the Asura. So as it's always mentioned that the Dadiji and the sages, they were always compassionate. They would give their own life to the people, and in order to save them and save the dharma, say to protect the dharma. So Dadiji actually died, and Indra took the bones of sage Dadiji and made this very powerful weapon called Vajrayudha, or called Thunderbolt. So Indra came with this Thunderbolt, this Vajrayudha, to fight with the Garuda. This is the time Garuda understood. Garuda was a devotee also of the Supreme Lord. And Garuda understood the significance of the Vajrayudha, the significance of this Thunderbolt of the weapon of Indra. So in order to give, and this is not only a weapon, all the power of, all the spiritual power of the Dadiji is also there on this weapon. And it's also considered as the sage himself. So when Garuda saws that the Indra is going to use the Vajrayudha, and this was actually originally by the sage Dadiji, and Garuda respected that. Garuda didn't fight back, but Garuda accepted that, and the wings of the feathers of the wings actually fall down from Garuda's wings. So then Indra became so pleased with this. When Indra pleased that Garuda respected his weapon Vajrayudha and respected sage Dadiji, and Indra became so pleased, and then Indra gave a boon that always then Indra asked the Garuda, what boon you need? So this is the time Garuda was seeing that all the time the Nagas were very much envious of Garuda. And in order to give a proper response back to the Nagas, because of their ego, because of their competitive mentality and their enmity towards the Garuda, and Garuda mentioned that I should be able to eat the snakes. So Indra said, Tadastu, be it. And Indra gave this boon to Garuda that Garuda can eat the snakes. Till that time, no birds were eating the snakes. But since then, the Garuda and the other birds, then later, that they are able to eat the snakes. It became their food because of the Nagas were, thousands of Nagas were very much envious and always making tricks and always creating problems to Mother Vinita and the Garuda. So then, even though nectar, Garuda got the nectar, and Garuda was bringing this, and then Supreme Lord was watching this all. Supreme Lord Vishnu was watching all this, and seeing that Garuda's value and Garuda's respect to Indra and Garuda's respect to the sages, and Garuda, even though got the nectar, and Garuda decided that I'm not going to take even a drop of nectar from the Amrita Kumbh. So Lord was seeing this. Lord was watching all this. Lord became so pleased. Lord came before Garuda, and Lord mentioned that I was so pleased with you, your humbleness, humility, and your the proper behavior with each and every situations. And there are lots of things happen in between the Nagas and the Garuda and Mother Vinita. They were tolerating in all this time. So like Pandavas, they were tolerating. So Garuda was tolerating all the insults by the Nagas, and Lord was seeing all this. And Lord was very pleased with the Garuda and asked a boon, asked for two boons actually. So then Garuda requested, and this is the foremost of, Garuda requested that, oh Lord, I wanted to serve you. I wanted to be eternally serve you. So I wanted to be eternally serve you. Dear devotees, Garuda was asking this boon from the Supreme Lord. And then Supreme Lord blessed and honored that boon and that request and gave that boon to Garuda, be immortal. And then also mentioned that I wanted to eternally serve and I wanted to be on your flag. And the Supreme Lord gave that boon, gave that blessings to Garuda, that be that always my carrier. And this is the way Garuda became the carrier of the Supreme Lord, the Vishnu and Supreme Lord Sri Krishna. Since then, Garuda always carries the Supreme Lord, and Garuda is eternal. Garuda is always there. And Garuda is so powerful. And then Indra was asking one of the other thing that, can you explain your strength? Garuda was seeing that all this powerful strength and defeating all the army. And Indra became pleased and asked Garuda that, can you explain your strength? So Garuda was saying that, I will not say my strength. And Acharya is mentioning that the great people, they never say their own, they don't praise themselves. They don't praise their own, they won't say their own strength. But Garuda just mentioned that. Even one of my feather can hold this entire earth on my feather. That's it. Just mentioned like that. But Garuda has such a power, and see that Garuda, the powerful Garuda, is carrying the Supreme Lord Vishnu all the time. And that's why we know that many temples, if you go, and there is a Garuda Stambha, in order to protect that. So in order to protect the entire premises in the entire abode of the Lord, and all the Vishnu temple, most of the Vishnu temple has this Garuda and Garuda Stambha. If you go to Jagannath Puri, there is a Garuda Stambha. In many temples, there is a Garuda Stambha. And even we know that when we ring the bell, and that is also considered as a Garuda. And many times the head of that bell is Garuda. And why? Because of Garuda always protects the devotees of the Lord. And Garuda always carries the Lord, and Garuda is also there in the flag of the Lord. So we know that whenever there is a flag hosting in the temple and the abode, and the Garuda is there. And why this? Because of originally the flags of the Supreme Lord is Garuda is there on the flag. And that signifies, and whenever there is a temple, there is a flag, and it's always, especially the Vishnu temple has the Garuda is there. And we know that the chariot of the Arjuna, that the Hanumanji was there, like that. Great personalities always resides there. And we know that the flag in the Jagannath Puri, and the Sudarshana Chakra, and there is a flag, Garuda is there. So as we know that many times when, most of the time we know that whenever there is a chariot festival happens, whenever there is a festival happens, the first thing you can see that the Garuda comes in this scene. Garuda comes into the air, and Garuda, see that to make sure that everything is going well for. And that's mentioned that when Garuda comes, the Lord is also manifesting on the back of Garuda. And many times, even I was seen that when nearby our temple, and there are lots of festivals happens, and when there is a chariot festival or processions, and the Garuda comes. And we know that now the Shabarimala season is actually the mandala. There is a temple in Shabarimala. So the Tiruvabharana means the divine jewelry of the Lord, and then they take it. So as soon as it take out, and in the chariot and the procession, the Lord comes, and all the way it reaches to the temple, the Garuda is there, and Garuda, Garuda goes along and accompany this, and it's all, everybody sees it. And there are so many times the Garuda manifests. It's not just like that. And Garuda comes, and we can see that the Lord's presence is there. So Garuda always, travels on the back of Garuda. So Lord gave this boon. Lord gave these blessings to Garuda, and then Garuda immediately then mentioned the Lord that I will give this, and I will be back. And before that, Indra was requesting, and Garuda mentioned to Indra Dev that when Indra pleased with Garuda, and Garuda mentioned that please be my friend, please be my friend. So Indra also requested, please be my friend, and they became friend. And then Garuda mentioned that I would return this nectar to you. I will give back this nectar to you, but I would, wherever I keep on the ground, you should snatch it. So then Garuda, then, after met with Lord Vishnu, then went back to the mother Kadru and Vinida. And so as soon as Garuda came with the nectar, all the Nagas and Kadru and all came to see that nectar is here so that they can become immortal. So Garuda mentioned to Nagas and the mother Kadru, that is, I brought the nectar, but there is one condition. You have to free my mother from this slavery. And, you have to, free from us from this slavery. And they agreed that condition. Then Garuda mentioned that, yes, this is divine nectar. You cannot just simply come and get it. So you have to go and take bath. You have to purify them yourself, then only you can take the nectar. So they, went for take bath. And this is the time Garuda puts this nectar on a kusha grass. There was a kusha grass, and put it on the top of it. And this is the time Indra came, and then Indra snatched the nectar back with him. And then when the Nagas came back, they saw that there is no nectar anymore. And they saw that Garuda became so powerful, and Garuda started to eat, and they became so afraid. And that's why the snakes are so afraid of the birds, especially the eagles and the Garuda. They were so afraid. As soon as they send, they go into this one. This was all happened because of they had this enmity, and they had this bad behavior with this own brothers and like that. So then when the nectar was put on a kusha grass, then Naga shows that even they can get some little taste of the nectar. They were all, licking on the kusha grass. But the kusha grass is so sharp, and then they became their tongue became split, and tongue became divided into two. That's why many times we can see that the tongue of the snake became split like a two, like there is a, they split it. So like that. So then since then kusha grass started to use for everything, for the purification, because of kusha grass, the nectar was on the top of kusha grass. Since then everybody started to use the kusha grass so that the nectar is there, and whoever takes and wear this nectar ring, and they will have an effect of this, the purity, and it can purify themselves. So So this verse itself is referring these all wonderful, wonderful incidents which was happened, how the Garuda snatched the nectar from Indra. So like that, by the mercy, and Srila Prabhupada also referring into the purport that the Garuda and the Supreme Lord, when they are very dear to the Supreme Lord, it is easy. The devotees are always protected. They'll be always victorious, and nobody can defeat them. And they can easily get their own in their own kingdom, their own rightful portions of whatever they have. So this is all happens because of the mercy of the Supreme Lord. So devotees are always protected and devotees are always victorious. So here Mahatma Vidra was referring all this and how the Yudhishthira Maharaj snatched the kingdom from Duryodhana, the evil, the enemy. Duryodhana had enemy with Yudhishthira Maharaj and the Pandavas, but by the mercy of the Lord, and Yudhishthira Maharaj could snatch the kingdom from the hands of Duryodhana. How the Garuda snatched the nectar, we can imagine that. And so in so many ways and so many places, and it is explained very well that the power of Garuda, and many times we know that the how Garuda is protecting and how the Garuda is carrying the Supreme Lord, and the mercy of Garuda is always good. And many times pray to the Garuda because of he is also a devotee of the Lord, devotee of the Supreme Lord. So here, so many lessons that we can learn from this each verse is that how the characters and the behaviors of each and every people, and how one should be treat others, and how should behave with brothers and sisters. How these are the dharmic ways, these are the religious principles and the codes. So one has to follow that. Then one follows that, then Lord's mercy is always there to such people. That's why it's mentioned that dharmo rakshati rakshadu. When there is dharma, then when one who protects the dharma, then dharma will protect them. Dharma is the Supreme Lord. His name is Supreme Lord. So one who protects dharma, one who follows the dharma, Lord's mercy is always there to them. And as it shows that, and it's very easy for them to deal with the things in this world. Like Yudhishthira Maharaj attained that entire Bharatavarsha, it was their rightful kingdom. And even though they patiently, they were tolerate so much of toleration, so much of atrocities against them, but they were tolerating all of them. Like Garuda tolerated, like Pandavas tolerated. But why? Because of they were always upkeeping their words and the dharma. And then the Lord was seeing all this. The Lord was always there wherever there is dharma. So Lord is always protects. And so this is the significance of this verse, dear devotees, and how the Pandavas were protecting. And Mahatma Vidura was so much curious how the Pandavas were treating, and Nakula and Sagadeva, because of Mahatma Vidura wanted to show the qualities of the Pandavas to the world. And Sukadeva Goswami wanted to show this to the world, how the Pandavas were treating their younger brothers. So thank you so much, dear devotees. With this note, I would end here. And thank you so much. Hare Krishna. Are there any reflections, any comments?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji, you said, we see Garuda Stamba on every temples, which are actually built many years back, actually. Nowadays, I don't know whether they are doing it or not, but whoever follows our dharma, definitely they will build those stambas.
Yes.
For the guarding the temples, actually.
Yes.
So it is because if you see, you said that in Kurukshetra, on the Arjuna's Radha, Hanuman is kept.
Hanuman was there.
Yeah, and even though Krishna is there, why Hanuman was kept actually? Why they didn't use Garuda? Because just trying to understand actually. Is there any specific reason?
There is a specific reason, yes. As you know that the Bhima and Hanumanji were brothers. They were the Vaiputras.
Correct.
And we know that when Arjuna, the Pandavas went into the exile from the forest, and one day Bhima went to as per the request of Mother Draupadi. It is known as Kalyana Sagundhika. There was a beautiful flower, very fragrant flower called Sagundhika flower. And when they were in the Himalayas, and Mother Draupadi had this fragrance, and Mother Draupadi requested Bhima to have this flower. And Bhima was going, and that time, there Hanumanji was there as like a little monkey. So little monkey was extended his tail, and Bhima was coming, and Hanumanji knew that who is coming, so there should be a meeting. So Hanumanji just extended his tail, and then usually if a person or somebody is there, they won't cross over. That is adharma, and nobody should cross over anything, that any substance, any objects, or any persons or legs, or there, nobody cross over any person. So tail is also part of that person. So Bhima was waiting, and Bhima was just requesting, you take a in a very harsh words, right? So monkey, take your tail, I am like that. So then you know that the story. So then you know that. So then Hanumanji, and he said that, okay, Hanumanji mentioned very humbly, you can take this tail and you can take it away, and like that. So then I know Bhima was tried, but he couldn't even move that tail. And finally, Hanumanji came and met together, and then they were embraced each other, and wonderful. And then Hanumanji said that I would be there, and there will be a time that I would be also there with you, and there is a great danger, great war is going to happen, and I will be there with all of you to help you. So that's why Hanumanji is seated on the chariot, on the flag, to enthuse Arjuna, enthuse everybody, so that and Hanumanji was making the noise, go and kill, and all this making the noise even there. And also, yes, Sri Krishna was also there, and the Supreme Lord was also, and the flag is also on the top, right? The flag, sitting on the flag means to give that all the blessings, actually. So this is the way that the Pandavas have all the blessings of all great personalities. Yeah, this is the way Hanumanji is seated on the flag. Yes. This was a promise of Hanumanji. And the Supreme Lord is also mentioned that. The Supreme Lord respected that,
Okay, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Yeah, and it was mentioned that when Hanumanji is there, the victory is there, definitely.
Yeah, the winning, yeah.
Yes, and Lord was making all sure that all the devotees are there to support the Pandavas, and that's another aspect of it. Then the devotional aspect, then all the devotees, everything supports to that, So then everything becomes so wonderful and great.
Okay, thank you, Prabhuji.
No. Okay, anything else? Anybody else? Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, please. Can do it now. All good.
Class, Prabhuji. Yeah, I never knew about this Karuna story. I'll repeat one more time in the YouTube recording.
Yes. Yeah, it is so beautiful, so nice. This is mentioned in Garida Puran. It is mentioned that in the Brahmanda Puran, there are many scriptures was very revealed. Even Bhagavatam also will, down the third canto, we'll see also that.
Okay, Prabhuji, thank you. Yeah, once you have the knowledge, then you understand why snakes are very afraid of the eagle and Garuna, and why do they have splitted tongue, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Yes. Thank you, Prabhuji. Yeah,
and that's that's where the clan of the birds started, and that's where the snakes, the clan is started from there, and all this from Daksha Prajapati, and it's not that just the evolution or anything. So there is a reason for everything, and there is a reason for everything in this world. It's not that just an accident.
Right.
Not an accident. Everything has a reason for, and that was very clearly explained in our scripture. That's our greatest of all, and it makes sense too. It's not that just some fictions, but everything makes sense, even that each and every aspects of it.
Yes, Prabhuji, will there be any story later in the Bhagavatam about why Garuna's mother was a slave of snakes?
Yeah, that's what it is, because when Aruna got the birth, but Mother Vinita was impatient, and she forcefully break the one of the egg. It was not completed the cycle of it, and then Aruna cursed Mother Vinita. where you become the slaves of Mother Kadru.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you. Anything else? Anybody else would like to add?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandavat
Hare
Pranam,
Krishna,
Namaste,
Devi. And
Prabhupada.
Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Prabhuji, while you are telling the story of Garuda, the who's serving the Lord all the time as a charioteer, I was thinking of a story of Kak Bhushundi in Ramayana,
Yes.
where at one time that crow saint, a saint in the form of a crow, he goes to Lord Shiva, and Lord Shiva is telling the story, and he talks about Garuda, that he gets the pride when he is called by in the Ramayana to help Lord Rama, from when he is bitten by the snake. So Garuda at one time thinks that, oh, am I saving the Lord, or so I am helping the God live, that means I have, the pride comes. And how he goes to Brahmaji, and Brahmaji is not able to answer, then he goes to higher, and I think Lord Shiva is able to answer this eventually. That so I remember of that story of Kakashundi Ramayana, where Garuda is also told the story, and then Lord Shiva tells the story to Kakashundi, is that you also had he said, I had the same pride, that Lord was coming and I was eating, so when Lord Ram was a baby and I used to go to his house to eat the chapati, he would run after me, he would cry like a baby, and he would run after me. I believe that maybe he's not the Lord, because Lord cannot behave like that. Then it connects me to the other story of Lord Krishna, where Brahmajis get bewildered, how the Lord is eating from, it is so in sequence that um, and recently there was a post in some channel here in IC Japathon, where there's a little video where I remember this, where it's a story. I don't know how true that one is. The story definitely is a Ramayana, but that's small stories from another YouTube video, which says that when Lord Hanuman was actually went to Sita Mata, and he was looking how Ravan comes and tries to say that I'm going to do this, and then his wife stops. At that point in time, Hanumanji gets the pride that I can destroy Ravana. I can destroy Ravana, and I don't. He does. Mother Sita doesn't have to go through all this. At that very spur moment, Ravana's wife stops him, and then immediately Hanumanji thinks, oh, I didn't have to do anything. There's somebody else arranged by the Lord to help Mother Sita. Similarly, there was the same time. This is a story I'm just telling you. It just comes in YouTube. I saw it yesterday, where there was another the Rakshasi who tells Mother Sita that I dreamt that there will be a monkey who will burn the kingdom of Ravana. And at that point in time, Hanuman did not know that he's going to do this. But the sequence of events that happened, where Ravana himself, put the fire on his tail. So then Hanumanji realizes that, the Lord himself is giving opportunity to all the devotees to do some, service for him. He can do it. Otherwise, he's using all of them to do some service. And that is why these pride and all these things that come, they're just a story to tell us that how we, get entangled with this pride. But Lord is using all of us to do some service for him.
Service. Yes, exactly. So everything happens here in this world according to the will of the Lord. The Lord sees everything. Lord is Paramatma. He's seated in everybody's heart. Lord is there everywhere. Lord is Paramatma. He is everywhere. He can see everything. He is omnipresent, omnipotent, and omniscient. He can see everything. So everything happens, and especially in the devotee, that Lord is very dear to them, and Lord makes sure and that devotees desires to serve Him, and that is always fulfilled. And it's a mercy. It's a mere mercy of the Lord, and sometimes Lord gives this mercy through His devotees, and then devotees engages the other devotees in the service of the Lord, and sometimes directly to the service of the Lord. And so beautiful, so wonderful. Yes, it's absolutely the mercy of the Lord, and anybody does any service to the Lord, it's nothing but the mercy of the Lord. And always remember that. And unless there is a mercy of the Lord, nobody can even serve the Lord. Nobody can even, remember the Lord. It is really the mercy of the Lord and the mercy of the devotees. And also the mercy of the devotees always fulfilled by the Lord. So yes, absolutely right and absolutely correct. That's why, we should not minimize that anybody in the platform of devotional service, and should be very much always remember that Lord is so merciful to us. That's why we can do the service. It's not that us that we are doing. It's sometimes this ego comes, then sangar comes, so it's because of me that it's all happening. No, it is because of the Lord's mercy that all that we are able to do the service. Otherwise, we are not even move a pin, to do anything to the soul mercy of the Lord. So when once becomes purified, once become free from all this false ego, this ahangar, and this all selfishness, and all this, and once become purified by the association of the devotees, hearing from Srimad Bhagavatam and Shravanam and the Kirtanam and devotional service and service to the devotees. So then, sincerely, when we do it, Lord, see that Andaryatmi, right? Andaryatmi, he's seated in the heart. So he makes sure that, we get more and more and more to serve the devotees and the Lord. And this is the sign of it. And one who does the service to the Lord sincerely, definitely is very dear to the Lord. That's what it signifies here. Wonderful. Thank you so much for, reflecting that.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Very nice class today, Prabhuji.
Hare
Yes,
Krishna.
thank you, Prabhuji. Yeah, it was a very nice class. And the same reflection that Supreme Lord places his devotees way even before him. Like
Oh, yeah.
if you go to the temple, the Garuda is there. In Shiva
Yeah.
temple also, the Nandiji is there. So
Yes,
all these are devotees. So God asks us to remember his devotees even before we
before,
see him.
yes. It is mentioned that even many times, some people cannot even go to the temple. And in the case of Jagannath Puri, one he's the temple, the Sudarshana Chakra from the far, the
Yeah.
Lord is there, and this asks that one he is taking the darshan of the Lord. Just look at the Sudarshan Chakra. So like that, one who serves his devotees, like when we pray, when we come into the temple before Garuda Stamba and Garuda, remembering the Lord, and remembering, and his Asikulas remembering the Lord. And especially that's mentioned that Lord is not, it's mentioned the Lord is seated in the heart of devotees, basically. So when the devotee has such a mood, such a humble nature, that seeing the devotees and everybody in that, the Lord is seated in everybody's heart. That's why even when we go there, we fold our hands, pay our obeisances. Actually, we are pay our obeisance to the Supreme Lord, who is seated in the heart of every living entity. So this is the way that devotee should see, and the Lord is seated in everywhere. And wherever we go, we have to have this humble nature, humble mood of that, offering the respect to others. That's why Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says that, Amanina manadena kirtiniya sadahari, give respect to everyone and don't even expect any respect back. So this is the nature, this should be the nature of each and every devotee. This is what we are learning. And, all this information is for transformation, that transform us to bring up to that divine qualities or on the spiritual platform, so that Lord is pleased and Lord give us an opportunity to serve him and eternally. And when Lord is pleased, that's what is the perfection of the life. Yeah, thank you so much, Madaji, bringing that.
Yes, thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Yeah. Anything else? Anybody else would like to add anything? Otherwise, let's conclude today's session. Thank you so much for joining today. Vancha kalpatarupasya kripa sindhubhyev cha patidanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Vaishnavrinda ki jai. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Ananda Kodi Vaishnavrinda ki jai. Gaura Premanande Hari Hari.
Hari Bol.
Hari Bol. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji, you're going to post the recording, Prabhuji?
Yes.
Yeah,
Prabhuji, I got the link. Prabhuji,
Yeah.
I got the link. So
Okay.
I'll post it with some description today.
Okay,
Yes.
please. Yeah, thank you
Yes.
so much.
Thank